20 years ago when I started, saying that you were working on tax, people would just say, okay, fine, great. Now it's almost sexy to work on tax matters. Why? Because it's about fairness. For decades, the OECD was about ensuring what we call the elimination of double taxation to facilitate cross-border investment and make sure that multinational companies wouldn't pay taxes twice. But what we've realized for the past 20 years is that the system facilitated what we have called double non-taxation, that multinationals could actually locate their profits in places where they had no activities and where there was no tax havens. So the focus over the past 10 years in particular, since the emergence of the G20, has been about fighting what we call tax fraud and tax avoidance. How do you tax Google? Where do you tax Google? Where do you tax these companies which have no physical presence in markets where they derive a lot of profit? But actually, if you think longer term, it's not only these tech giants that we know today, it may be a new way of doing business for all businesses. I mean, you used to be the employee of a taxi company, now you are self-employed working with Uber. How do you draw the tax consequences of that? What is the tax regime for this new employment or new self-employed mechanism? Here, the ambition is to change the world, to have changes in practice. What we've done in the tax area has translated into cash in the governments. I mean, more than 100 billion euros of taxes have been paid by people who did hide their money in tax havens, which means that the poor, the middle class, don't have to pay for the rich who didn't pay their fair share because they were exploiting the system or the lack of regulation in the system. What I learned at the OECD with my predecessor, with the Secretary General, is that we can be entrepreneurial. You know, you have an idea, you can turn it in practice. You just need to convince the countries, you just need to raise the funds, to build the team, to be a bit enthusiastic about that, and then it can happen. I think the worst career advice that one could give is just to think your career strategically from day one till retirement. Adapt to the circumstances and don't plan too much ahead. Just be available and fully committed to what you are doing. So one step at a time, I think that's the most important thing. When I was a kid, for sure, I didn't even know about tax, but I had two dreams. One was about doing an international job, and there I must say I'm pretty happy because this is what I'm doing. The other one, which was higher, was to be an actor, and there I failed. I didn't dare, I didn't try, so I ended up as a taxman.